Grave Reviews, this is Chris.
Have you trapped the children?
There's no children here. It's not safe for them.
This is Alan, and Chris is right. Grave Reviews is intended for mature audiences. Your discretion is advised. Grave Reviews presents Thursday Night Frights. Sir, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. So here's the funny thing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
When I click watch on YouTube, it shows me that it's live, but when I go to the channel, it shows that it's not.
I'm showing that it was live when I went in.
It's there. It's now playing live. So we're
Yeah.
good. All right, good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. We had some major technical difficulties today. So just to kind of brush everybody up on what's going on, and I appreciate you being patient for us. We, when I say we, me, Chris and I have been talking about adding a new show, a new program where we pre-record some stuff, and on Tuesday nights we're going to broadcast something called Tuesday's Frights, and so we had to have recording space. So I went into my program that we use to go live, and I was clearing out some things. Well, when I did that, I cleared out tonight's channel preload for YouTube X and Facebook Live. Just gone. Gone. Couldn't find it.
It's
gone. So I had to rebuild it, and instead of it linking to the old one, it created new for everything. So I'm sure there's some confusion out there. I apologize for that, guys. I really, really do. Thank you so much for being patient with us. So that being said, Chris, how's your day?
It's over. It's over.
Yeah,
It's over.
it's over.
I made it. I made it. We'll leave it at that. It's a day. Looking forward to the weekend. Doing some fun things over the weekend. So, yeah, follow along on the socials for that.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, we're gonna do some ghost hunting and self-guided tour. So your own pace.
Explain that to me.
We are going to Eastern State Penitentiary, and they go and you, with your tickets, you get a little MP3 player with some headphones.
Yeah.
And you can walk your pace, and you got like almost carte blanche of the grounds to go at your own pace, check stuff out.
Wow, that sounds really flippin'.
So yeah, no rush with pictures and spending time in a certain area. So it's gonna be fun. We're gonna make a day of it.
That sounds really flippin' cool. It really does. I'm not. I don't know. I will say this: my wife and I was lucky enough to do the Shawshank tour,
Right.
of the penitentiary, and while we were up in the areas that were being filmed, and I got like a picture of myself behind the warden's desk and on his telephone and that kind of stuff, and we got to see old Sparky and all that stuff. I mean, it was really neat. But when we actually got down to the actual prison cells where the actual prison was,
Yeah.
man, I tell you what, it
Whole
was
other world.
it was it made me realize that I probably would not be able to live in that type of situation. So I'm really glad that I'm not the type of person that would generally wind up in a penitentiary, if that makes sense.
Right.
It was really, really, really rough. Mar and I were both just like, oh,
It's just an oppressing feeling.
it really is.
Just the immense. It's just cell blocks.
Yeah, and literally, it's 3x9 cell or 4x9 cell, and they are stacked on top of each other from ground to ceiling as far and it's just it's oppressive. It was oppressive. I understand the need for it, and I agree with the need for it.
Yeah.
But still,
This is why you don't want to. Stop breaking the law, asshole.
Yeah, breaking the law, breaking the law. Anyway, that all being said, hello everybody. Welcome to Grave Reviews. This is our show, Thursday Night Frights. I am your host, Alan. This is my esteemed co-host, Chris. We are so glad that you're here tonight, and we are going to cover Viking Wolf, a international success.
International. Uh, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna discuss this movie, the Nordic take on the werewolf story, the
Yes.
classic werewolf story, of transference through blood saliva, basically.
Yeah,
So,
so it goes back, unlike last week where it was a ritual and rites. This one is more the classic werewolf. If you survive the bite, you're going to turn. Uh,
right.
so tell me how
Well, okay,
to go about this one.
all right. So the Viking portion of Viking Wolf is a letdown, because the Vikings portion of the wolf takes place in the first like 5-10 minutes of the movie, and the only connection to that from there on is just that they're in Scandinavian, Norwegian lands mainly, I think. Um,
Yes.
just the connection to the area is the only thing that carries over from Viking. Um, which was kind of disappointing. I was hoping for more Viking in my Viking Wolf. Uh, it maybe have taken a different story.
I
We were,
I I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to say that the wolf that is in this is the same wolf that was alive during the Viking raid at the beginning of the movie. Which, by the way, my favorite single shot in this movie is when the Viking exits the monastery with
mm,
that cub wolf under his arm.
yeah, very cool. Visually, very cool.
Very-
Basically, they storm an abbey, and as you would see in like the show Vikings, slaying everyone, and stealing everything, raiding the place, and finding a door that was locked, and they cut down all of the monks that were protecting it in order to get the Hound of Hell out.
Yes.
And then, as you said, with him under his arm, walking away. And there is one point where it's a quick point where he says the bloodline went like this all over the map of Scandinavia.
Right.
So kind of like alludes to getting killed, new ones. So the curse remains from, at least from that point.
Here's my question on that one. Did you take it that it was a different bloodlines, or did you take it that that the wolf was migrating?
I took it as the bloodline was migrating. So, like, maybe you had your original wolf, and then eventually, like, somebody, because they knew Silver, people knew Silver would kill it. So maybe
Hmm.
you killed the wolf, but he had bitten somebody else, and they carried
Hmm.
that bloodline, and that's why you follow this, where in the world is Carmen San Diego of the Wolf Show, the maps that we see real quick.
Yeah. Yep. I Okay. So yeah, because I kind of took it. And this is my third viewing.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I
and
was gonna say, well,
I'll hold
mhm.
on to that to the end. And I took it every single time that they were talking about the fact that it was migrating, and I didn't really think of it under the guise of the bloodline, but it makes sense that you said it that way. So yeah, I
I think
think you
either way, honestly, either way, it really didn't matter
no,
much because that was the blip on this movie was so close. Um,
it
it just ended up being well. I mean, let's just describe that we have the Vikings. It
yeah,
leaves. It ends up bringing us to present day Norway, and uh, you know, a mother who's a police officer who married a guy and they have kids, and one's a so they're bringing they moved so she could be a police officer, and the kid is of course what's her name? Thale.
Thale.
Right,
She had
Thale. Thale.
yeah, and all the names in this movie. are actually kind of cool because they're very
Yeah.
Norwegian.
Oh, they're very
Very
Scandinavian
Norwegian.
names. Yes. And so she comes over to this new place following the death of the father. And, they're going to start over here with her deaf little sister. Um,
Which to me, she was one of the best characters in the movie.
absolutely. There was more emotion that kid had than most of them.
I agree.
Absolutely. And, she cares for the kid. So uh, she decides to go out to a party a little late at night, and she's not the popular person.
No, she's new in town, so the other kids are kind of picking. I will say
Yep.
this though, they're the directors were kind of sending mixed signals,
Mhm.
because she's like sneaking beer out of the house.
Right, six pack.
All
Yep.
right, but yet when she gets on her bike leaving, her mom goes, be back by what 9 or 11, whatever it was.
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll see, maybe.
Right.
So it's painting her that she's being very anti establishment, if you will, for her because she's angry at her mom, as we come to find out why. um,
Right.
and then but yet my thought on that is, if that were going to be the case, she would have just picked it up and walked out.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of there's a lot to. I think the only real character that you care so much about is the bond between sisters.
Yep, yep.
That's pretty much all that's there. Mother daughter, you get it. It's the busy mother, but she obviously takes her job way more serious
Then she
than
should.
than she should. Yeah, absolutely. Um,
I will agree with you on that. I think that okay, so when Thale is with her sister, and when Thale is with what's his name? Give me 1 second here. Jonas, the proposed boyfriend.
right.
Those are really good interactions. Those are very good play.
Absolutely.
The conversation feels natural. But
Mhm.
whenever there's an adult in the room, even when the adults are talking to other adults, you sit back and go, all right. So if you're in the chat room, and you've ever heard of the term creepy pasta, what a creepy pasta is like it, not all the time, but most of the time, you could when you're reading it, you can tell this was written by someone very young, preteens to early teens, who are
Mhm.
trying to sound like adults.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely, you're right.
And that's what this and whenever there was conversations going on that didn't involve the kids, that's what it
Yeah.
felt like.
Adult things. We talk about adult things.
We're talking
Adult
about
things.
adult things. "Oh, so how do you like your adult thing?" "Oh, I love my adult thing." Clankety clank,
Right. The
right?
peanuts. Womp womp womp
Wah,
womp.
wah, because that's might as well, even in I'm gonna be jumping around a little bit.
Yeah,
Even
jump around a bit.
in the main scene where the guy who knows what the werewolf is comes into town and sits in there and talks to her, you're like,
Why are
"Give
you
me
guys talking like this?
something. Yeah, give me something. Give
You're
me."
this expert, but we have no proof as a viewer that you're an expert, other than you're missing an arm,
Uh-huh.
and that can't bode well for any of us.
No, and the fact that he happens to give her a silver bullet. Now, here's the funny thing. I not only have Chris and I watched this movie, but I know other people have as well. And
Yeah.
and everyone was like, "I can't believe he gave her just one." I'm like, "Did you see the fact that he dumped a whole box of them in her jacket pocket as he was walking out the door
Right.
in front of her?" While she's telling him to get out, and she doesn't say like, "What are you doing?" or anything. She just lets him
Nothing.
do it, walk
Yeah.
in.
Oh,
Never.
that's weird, but we'll just move on.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
wah, wah, wah,
Right.
wah, wah.
It's very forced. Meanwhile, you go back to the kids that they're more believable. She's the outsider, cute boy, invites her, spending a little time with her. Mayor's daughter's like, oh, hell no. And wants to come down on him and pull him aside. And, why are you talking to her? Why are you talking to her? Um,
Exactly.
so, of course, Dale thinks I should probably get out of here. Um, and we get our wolf action come running through the woods and take Elin out. Uh,
Yes.
Mayor's daughter's toast.
And that scene was actually, I thought, was pretty well done. They didn't have to show a lot of the wolf to get you to believe it.
Hmm.
It was quick cut camera work. I thought that let's see, what was his name? William,
Hmm.
um, and no, I'm sorry, it was Jonas. Jonas
Jonas. Yeah.
and Thale both did really well in that scene.
Hmm.
I thought they did again, it's believable when the kids are involved,
Right.
which is weird because I don't like child actors. So,
Yeah.
I guess because, and I do have to say this also. Those Norwegians actually casted people who looked like they were the age they were supposed to be. It didn't look like a bunch of
Good point. It wasn't a bunch of 30-year-olds in high school.
right? Unlike April Fool's Day from a few weeks ago,
Right.
from a few
All of
weeks.
you are full-grown adults. This is not a college party.
No, but
Um,
anyway, so yeah, I'm sorry, I jumped in.
yeah.
So
No.
our wolf attack looked really good. I
Right.
would say that
Absolutely. Overall, uh, I didn't think the wolf was bad.
no,
I thought the look of it. I mean, you get the obvious CGI here or there, and
exactly.
absolutely, but good looking wolf.
Good looking
Overall,
wolf.
it was a hound from hell. The four-legged variety of basically not just a wolf, super wolf.
A super wolf, yes, and I did like the way when so when they were doing the crime scene investigation, right,
Right.
and they're looking at how the kids were drawn off and all those things. This is before any of them were found or what have you, or sorry, the girl that was drug away was found.
Right.
Uh, she finds a claw that has been ripped out of one of its paws, and under examination, they're pretty sure it's a wolf claw because it
Wolf, but
doesn't
big.
match. Yeah, it doesn't match. It looks like a wolf claw
Right.
if a bear had wolf claws. That's
Right.
kind of the way I looked at it, as
It's
far as
just way too big. Yeah, the
way too.
scaling of it was what threw them off as far as there's something weird going on here.
Yeah,
And during the attack on the mayor's daughter, Thale gets injured. She
yeah.
gets scratched. And we go back to her going home, and I love that she falls asleep and wakes up, and you know all all the senses are now heightened.
And I also like the fact that they did not as deep as Ginger Snaps, but it was a slow transition versus the immediate, the next night kind of thing. It took her, a few days to actually become the feral wolf. And I also like the fact that they said in this one that once they become a wolf, they stay a wolf, they lose their humanity forever.
Yeah, they describe a slow change of you'll see them get animal characteristics, the way they
Mhm.
act, the way their attitudes, and then facial features, and they hold true to that. It's this the moon is bringing this on, but it's bringing on a transformation you're not coming back from.
Yep.
True
Yep.
curse. It's a true curse.
Yep,
So
which I thought was I thought that was a neat aspect
it's
to look.
once again another good aspect to grab onto. We'll touch base back on it. I'd like to later
Yep,
for reasons to be said.
yep, I agree.
So of course this movie sets us up with the crazy old man coming into town that has all the silver bullets. We also have a vet that can run DNA testing like that to tell us what the hell's going on.
I did like the scene where the college professor or the college administrator came to him during his lecture, and then immediately after lecture, he's like, "Hey, there's this thing that they need help with."
Right.
I thought that was kind of a neat scene because he's like, "Hey, I've got all this stuff to do." He goes, "Yeah, you might want to cancel all that and go."
Check this out. Yeah. You gotta go
But
check this out.
But when they showed the werewolf hunter coming into town, his um not Winnebago
It's not Winnebago.
is
Right.
not Winnebago. I swear to
Right.
God, from the side, I was like, that thing. I mean, it was an actual Winnebago type, camper, but it
Right.
looked like a toy.
It does.
It
It does.
looked. I mean, I was just like,
He's living in that. Okay.
Then again. them Norwegians, you know.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm quarter Swede. I can attest.
I
There's
and I will
ways
say this
they
as
eat
well.
fish that's rotten. Like they buried in the earth for a long
Yeah,
time, and then
no,
oof.
but I will say this also: the area that they were filming in was gorgeous.
Oh, absolutely.
The scenery was beautiful. I literally was going, I want to go see this town.
Pining for the fjords.
Yes, I was like, I want to go see this town. I really, really do.
Definitely. Um,
Um,
and now the police are all trying to track this down. We've gotten, uh, we found, let's see, we've got everybody coming together. We think it's a wolf. They're going to go out in this giant hunting party to bring this thing down. A
I
couple
love,
funny scenes through here.
I love the fact that she's like, we've got to go now. We know it's a wolf. Let's go. And he's like, oh nope, I've got to file for the permits. I don't know what
Yeah,
else where you're at.
right.
That's what I was like. Okay, that's funny right there. I don't care what you say. That's
Yep.
that's
So she leads this hunting party out into the woods, and it doesn't go well.
no.
They well, I mean, it goes well in the case that they found the wolf. Wolf found them kind of first.
Yeah.
Some miscommunication. The guard dog takes off, or the sniffing dog goes off, and then the sniffing dog comes flying back
Yeah,
uh,
in pieces.
in pieces. Like this thing threw his dog back to him,
Yep.
tearing people apart, and getting pushed into this weird cave. On what we're doing, and uh, finally this thing's shot and is brought down.
Right.
And I mean,
It,
this
it,
thing's shot a dozen times.
I love it because they unload using standard shells.
Regular rounds. Regular
She
rounds.
loads the one silver bullet into it and takes it down, like right before it kills her, right before it pounces
So
on.
good thing we have a vet. The vet can do an immediate, you know, uh,
Autopsy.
autopsy to see what's going on. And of course, he finds that the silver bullet, another good way touching on why silver. Silver, it's like a chemical reaction going on. The regular bullets hardly did anything,
Yeah.
but this, the organs are basically rehealing. I would take it as
Yes.
where this is making everything turn to goo.
Yeah. I loved it because he literally said, the standard slugs took out this, and this. They entered these organs, but there was minimal, if any, damage.
Right.
Right? But this one silver bullet, the
In
whole
the neck.
area around it, it acted like you said, they described it like it acted like acid, where it just ate everything around it. So that was a really neat way to show the silver allergy, if you will.
Again, that universal monster kind of thing that silver kills werewolves, and here we have it in a practical sense, other than just a spiritual paranormal
Yep.
sense. That it's actually a physical chemical reaction that goes on between the
And I
wolf and
and I
silver.
love the fact that you said it that way, the universal monster, because let's face it, in the old lore, silver didn't do anything, but
Right,
that was something that was introduced thanks to the Wolfman and the Universal Studios.
right,
So
exactly. So,
love it.
yes,
30.
so I got you. So, we start going back to Thale, where she's starting to change.
Yes.
Not only is she sniffing stuff and hearing stuff, but she has a very obvious brow that's coming in,
Hmm.
and we see the teeth have changed. Um, that's like the first thing that starts going
Yeah,
with her.
and everything was very. That's what I loved, is that everything was very slight in the changes at first.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
wasn't.
there's a couple scenes where you're almost like, did she get more wolf like in the scene? Like,
Uh-huh.
and so I'll give them credit again. Solid practical effects bringing
Yep.
you forth the change into what she's going to become.
Yep. I agree.
Excuse me.
Yep.
She uh, she basically wants to go out and whatever. Is it the infected beast? So he shuts down the life support. Uh, Went too far. So
So basically, at this point, she has been having nightmares. Every time she has a nightmare, it gets a little worse. It's her floating in a pool of water and then a pool of blood, and there's more blood involved.
she wakes up in the shed.
Yeah, she wakes up in the shed. Well,
covered in blood.
before we go to the shed,
Yeah.
we go back to just a little bit. So
Okay.
she decides she gets a phone call from Jonas, who says, "Hey, let's go out together." Jonas is the one who was in the attack originally as well. They
Wants
go
to
out.
talk.
They go out to lookout point, and they're out there talking. He gets a phone call from his dad. He's like, "Hey, Dad," he excuses himself, and you can hear him, typical teenager. "Oh
Right.
no, I just went out for a drive," and
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, I know, I know." Dad said, "Well, I don't, that's not like you're driving." He goes, "Well, I stopped to get out and stretch my legs a little bit or whatever."
Right.
Well,
Right.
well, Thale is back at the car, and she looks up and sees the full moon, and she starts to change.
She starts to get that, the growling in her stomach, and she's doubled over. Yep, the teeth are starting to jut out. That she's starting to go wolf.
Yeah,
And
and I
it
love
looks
the
like all
fact.
the way.
Yeah, and I love the fact that she is at this point holding on to her humanity enough to know that, hey, there's going to be a problem here, so that when Jonas walks back around, she's covered up where he can, leave me alone, get
Yeah, get
out of
away,
you
get
know
away, run.
for me, blah blah blah. And he's like, no, because I'm stupid and I don't listen, and I'm going to care for you, and then you're going to eat me, which is what she did.
Right. Again, following along with the werewolf tradition in movies of you're a dumbass and you went back and you got it.
Mhm. And you
Um,
got 8 exactly. So then she wakes up the next morning in like you said, in the shed on the dirt
yep,
floor.
covered in blood.
And I
And
thought this was a really neat thing they did here, where she, of course, because she's not full wolf yet,
mhm.
she of course gets sick and throws up.
Yeah, well, Jonas,
Jonas. Whatever shade of Jonas is thrown up.
whatever's left of Jonas.
Yes, and so that was really cool. And then of course it switches out to her mom, who basically drives right past her own daughter.
Yeah, not cool.
Recurring theme at this point, right? Or drives right
Yep,
past her daughter laying on the ground, and goes to to the scene of Jonas's murder.
right. And at this point, Thale knows that she's got to get out of here.
Yep.
He's going to buy a ticket to get on a bus and just get out. And you know, uh,
You hear John Denver playing in the background.
it's right.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it's what a way to go, because she does. She grabs the bus ticket. She hops on a bus with a bunch of other people in the time of that 3 day span, usually, of the full moon.
Yep.
And it's a night bus, of course.
Of
And
course.
moon comes out, and wonder what's going on in the back of the bus. There's a
Yeah.
lot of noise coming from back there.
I loved this. I actually really liked this scene. I thought to myself, okay. So I have to preface this.
Right.
I thought to myself, Thale is much smarter. She's proven herself to be much smarter than to get on a bus load of people when all this is going on.
Yeah.
But once she starts turning on that bus, they really don't show a lot.
No.
They show just enough to make you go, wow.
Wow, she went full wolf, like she's
Yes.
full on.
Yeah.
And we moved to the CGI version of the wolf. I know a lot of this bus action, I'll give it credit, happens not quite on camera. It's this you get you get some kills.
Yes.
But basically this bus, not only is it a bus full of people and a werewolf, but it's a bus full of people and a werewolf in a tunnel.
In a foggy tunnel, for
Right.
that.
Foggy, smoky tunnel. You can only go that way or that way, and soak in the wolf. So, Thale is in the bus, and I believe the mother knows by now that something's going on. She sees the accident. Somebody comes out of the tunnel. We've got problems, and Liv is, going to go in and check it out. And
And I do like the fact that her mother was the one who showed up on the scene.
right, of course. And the bus is carnage.
Oh,
There's
big
just
time.
when she gets the bloodlust, she's gone. And there was a goodbye scene between Thale and her sister Jenny, and
Which was actually a really good scene.
right, and Jenny gets them to, hop in the car and go for an outing. and crash as the wolf has escaped. Hasn't killed the mother, but has ruined everyone going to and from her, and is unleashed upon the town.
This is actually a pretty tight scene as well.
Right.
In my opinion, pretty well done scene as
It was neat. You have the asshole bully that comes out, that was giving her so much problems, that runs his mouth. He's the first to go.
yeah, which I think's
She's
hilarious.
on him so fast, and she takes him right out.
Yep.
And before we get to that point where we have Thale turned into a wolf in the house with Jenny, that's another great scene.
I agree.
CGI where he gets shocked where he takes the lamp and defends Jenny from this werewolf, as the father figure, and just electrocutes the werewolf. Good stuff.
I was actually trying to pull that picture up, and my computer locked. So hopefully I didn't like freeze on you guys.
No,
Um,
I think you're
but
good.
all right, so let me. I do have it here. Let me pull that picture up for us real quick. Um, actually, it's what's in the
It's a
background.
great moment. You have this moment where you think Thale realizes that's her sister
Yes.
and decides that she's not going to hurt her, but stepfather kind of boyfriend figure coming in pisses her off, and she doesn't have a
So,
problem taking him out.
so looking at this at this picture here, um, you can definitely see the CGI on this is
It's
really
clean,
well done.
very clean. I'll
Um,
give it
and,
that.
and would we have rather it had been practical? Of course, but they did a good job with it, especially not using. I know this is going to sound weird, but with not using American um, CGI houses, right?
Right, right.
So I
Yeah,
thought I
very
thought
clean. I
very
thought it
clean.
was
I thought,
great.
I thought the CGI was and this movie was released in 22, so it's
Yeah,
a little over 2 years old, and the CGI is still holding up. So that's a good thing.
yeah,
That's really
not
good.
bad, not bad. So she goes to town in town and tearing people up left and right. Uh, you have Liv kind of creeping up on her. The veterinarian shows up with enough tranquilizers to knock down, you know,
An elephant. He
an
says, "Quote,
elephant.
enough
An
tranquilizers to
elephant.
knock down an elephant."
So we've got this moment where she knows that it's her daughter, um,
Yeah,
and uh, it's just her walking up on, her daughter feeding on some poor townsperson,
which I
and
think at this point in time is the bully.
could be like he comes. I know she comes up with a big solid flesh, or at least biteful
Yes,
from the
a
bully
big
at one
a
point.
big hunk.
So she's chewing on somebody, and we have this moment where, yeah, again, going back to American Werewolf in London, where you have that moment: can love break the curse?
Yeah,
The mother and her daughter. It's her daughter, and the mother realizes that she needs her family more, and she's
right.
not there for them. We have that little bit of character arc when it comes to that.
Which I thought, and I think we need to touch on this. There's a scene here when all this carnage is going on that the deaf and mute daughter, younger sister,
Hmm.
walks up to this feral wolf, right? Which is, as we said earlier, it's a super wolf. It's like 4 times the
Yeah,
size of a
big.
normal wolf, right? It's almost bear size, and starts signing to her,
Yeah,
I will always have you. I
have
will
your
always
back. Oh, I have all.
always be with you, right?
Yes.
And you see the wolf literally start to calm down for a second.
Yeah, give that like recognition in there. Again, it was a good it was a good moment. That
Yep. And not
recognition.
only and here's another thing that I thought was really cool is I don't know if you noticed this or not, but because of the character, the wolf and the human, they did her blue eye and the wolf eye
Yeah.
So you could tell that there was still a little bit of fight
She
going on
wasn't fully
there,
changed, if you were
right?
to be real about it. So
And this is when the vet steps out and hits her hard with the trank, right?
yeah, and doesn't shoot her because she has the moment where you're not sure if she's going to break out the pistol and get her with the silver bullet or not. Tranks the kid, hits her
Tranks.
daughter, and knocks her out. Um,
Well, no, actually, it doesn't.
but, oh,
She
that's true.
starts to go
She
down,
starts to go.
but then she's like, "Listen, I was calmed down. You just shot me. Fuck you. I'm gonna eat you." And she
Right,
runs in, and so they are running. They get inside
the
this
little store that's there. Yep.
they've got her blocked out. They're doing all that, and all of a sudden she breaks in, and the younger sister gives her the second dart
Yep.
because the vet's pretty fucked up with a piece of wood shoved through his leg, um, and that's what knocks her out.
Yeah, great moment where the little sister is taking it on to put her down.
Save mom,
Yep.
basically.
Yep. Absolutely. And
Because while our feral wolf wasn't going to kill her little sister, she was going to eat her mom and be happy with it.
yeah, I think that she had enough angst towards her mother, probably, that the wolf form
Yeah.
had that.
Yep.
So we go to a veterinary science place
Hmm.
to find our wolf is on life support,
Yes. On the table,
incapacitated on
down.
a gurney. Um, I really don't like this ending. I don't. We had this moment already because now mom shows up with a silver bullet
Uh-huh.
and you know tries talking to her daughter and has this moment and we straight soprano it where we end it with a black screen
Well, they
to her
tried,
going to back home
yeah,
and
they
putting a
tried to
silver
pull the
bullet
heartstrings on you like they did at the end of The Howling, and they just missed the mark
again.
again.
Another moment from werewolf history taken from the howling of
Yes.
family life support because the howling was great with that with the where he's still on life support and the
Yep.
drips and the monitors and stuff. So has that moment and then we switch to her going home and putting the bullet on a nightstand with her picture so we don't know if she shot her. Is that another bullet?
Mhm.
So it kind of negates the need for that whole season. So we got a werewolf
Yeah.
on life support in
Or do
Norway.
we?
Or
Or do
do
we?
we?
Because and that's where they want you to be, right? Did she kill her own daughter or daughter? Because her daughter's gone. Let's face it, we know that.
Right.
Um, but she had a pocket full of silver bullets, so maybe she
Yeah.
just. So
Maybe it's another one.
yeah. The question is, maybe she killed her. Maybe she didn't. If she did, maybe she's holding on to those silver bullets in case something happens again. Because let's
Right.
face it, she's in the middle of no freaking where.
She's lucky because at one point she had a cast on from her broken arm, and the wolf was just like,
Yeah, which I thought was a really neat, shove that in
Very
there. Because
cool.
that's
Very
what,
cool.
right? That's what we do with, or what we're
So,
supposed to do with
so
attacking
we'll
dogs.
hit with that ending of the heartstrings, like we saw in The Howling. This movie is full of moments from werewolf history
That are almost there.
that are all, but they're all been done before
Hmm.
without adding anything of its own.
Yep. Yep.
The only thing they had of its own, this origin story of Viking, was so fleeting that if you were coming in late with popcorn, you missed it, dude.
And I'm going to say this. We're okay. So, chat room. When have you ever seen this? We're 40 minutes in, and we're almost done talking about this movie already.
I wanted it to be so much more.
I
I really did.
I will say this: had they never left the Viking era, right? Had they showed that Viking come out with that wolf under his arm,
Like
and
he's raising some.
somehow they made it home, right? And you stayed in that era of pillage and plunder and blah blah blah, but you had this guy who had a werewolf as his partner, kind of, doing
Right.
that would have been oh
Could
my
have been
god, that
great.
would have been so interesting.
There were so many. You know what it was? It's just we got a little Viking in our werewolf, and the Viking to werewolf ratio was way off.
Very much so.
We needed more Viking in our Viking Wolf.
Yeah, yeah. Had
Other
they,
than keeping it in the Scandinavian region,
uh-huh.
where Vikings were said to be, it's the only connection there is, and even the origin of the werewolf isn't of Viking origin. It was found in a Christian abbey
Yep.
on a raid, and it was the Hound of Hell. So there was a lot of stuff here that was done
That
before
was just almost
and
right.
almost there. But
Almost. I literally said to myself, I said, I want to take this concept, this Viking Wolf concept, and I want to write a short story about how the werewolf, because it was a pup, linked itself to the guy, just like if it was his mother, right?
right,
A feral wolf,
right,
and how they together took over the Viking kingdom.
right. Or in that vein, they were the birth of the berserker. That myth of the berserker going crazy,
Yeah.
animalistic kind of. They were
Yeah.
werewolves. Like there was
See,
so much we could have gone with. And damn
in
it.
in my story, they become like the king. And he becomes the king of the Vikings, and everyone's in awe. And one day, he's sitting on his throne, and he's doing a decree, and he stands up, and that or that werewolf tears him to shreds in front of everybody, and then puts his paw in the middle of his chest and howls, "Arr," like this is because of me, not him.
Well,
I would have been like, yes,
Grave Reviews presents Viking Wolf by
yeah,
Alan.
the right
Just do
way.
this. You could do this right, Alan. You're already got me in.
All right. So that all being said, if I knew a way to do CGI well enough to be like this, I would do it. So
Right.
that being said, okay, we're wow, 42 minutes in.
Yeah,
Tell
its
me,
movie fell
Chris.
short with so many things. I will say it has everything you need for a movie.
It does.
It has everything you need for a werewolf movie.
It
And
does.
in fact, a clear cut reasoning behind the werewolf. It's a curse. It follows blood. You become the wolf. There's no going back.
Yep.
Solid all the way through. It just didn't add anything new to it. It didn't add a spin to it to make it Viking Wolf.
No.
And for that, it's not terrible, but it wasn't great at all. And I was disappointed. I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Oh, wow. You went higher than I think I
Yeah,
would.
I just give it a half because it was entertaining and it
Hmm.
was almost there.
It was.
But yeah.
So for me to hit a 5, it has to hit every mark that you would expect it to.
Mhm.
It did do that, I think. I just think that the producers and directors of this and the writers of this film didn't know what they had,
Yeah.
because they had an idea on the surface that could have been fantastic. They had a very strong group of young actors.
Yeah.
The and they had a good group of adult actors. Unfortunately, the writing between the two was like night and day.
Yeah, it wasn't pieced together well.
So it's like it was right there. So to be honest with you, on a rewatchable scale, and as far as cinematic features, and the camera work was wonderful. The CGI
Yeah.
was wonderful.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so that being said, I'm at 4.5.
That's
Because
fair.
I don't think it hit 5 being on our own scale. 5 is it hits
Yeah.
all the marks.
It hits. It
I
does fall
had
short
more
though.
fun talking about this movie than I did watching this movie.
And little side note, if you were to go into, I usually go through Wikipedia, IMDb, all of
Mhm.
those things to kind of get a synopsis of a movie and kind of put something together myself and reference to. And this movie has a bigger Wikipedia than the movie. It's like, almost like 3 pages of plot, and there's not that much plot in this movie.
And I think that's because there is so many. And here you go, guys. This is where I'm at. Are you ready? There is so many things in this movie that they touch base on but don't follow through on. There's a
Yeah.
lot of open-ended crap.
And they did a really great job of syncing those little, you know, hairs of something cool, like a vein of something that,
Mhm.
some lore, some little tidbit of information on, you know, being passed along on how to kill him with silver, how he kind of gives her silver in a way that she would end up using it.
And I did love and again, there was aspects, right? That first time ever of really talking about what the silver did to the werewolf versus the lead bullets. Right there,
Yeah,
it's like that was a gift to us. That was like,
it
oh,
was.
well, that was really cool. But then they followed it up with something, and you're like,
Took away from what you just did. So yeah, it doesn't find its place.
and
That's
that's
what I would say is it doesn't find its place in as a standalone in the werewolf genre. It's just another story carrying on tales of werewolves that we know of,
yep,
or at
I
least
agree.
types of werewolves that we know
I
of.
agree. I agree.
So,
And I'll be honest with you, if they had done the Viking thing and they had okay, this is her full name. Are you ready? Ellie Rihanna Mueller Osborne is the one that played Thale.
gotcha.
Okay, let's try that one more time. Ellie Rihanna Mueller Osborne.
Yes.
That's a mouthful. I thought if they would have done, say they would have stayed with the Viking theme like we talked about, they could have. She could have been in it. She could have been the Vikings woman or the Vikings queen or whatever,
Right.
which would have been cool because had new ideas,
Uh
right?
oh.
So the Viking and the wolf. The wolf imprints on the Viking. They do the thing. Blah 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 blah. At
Right.
the end of the movie, you come to find out through segments that are going on that when the wolf puts its hand on the Viking's chest and howls, Thale walks up to the wolf and strokes its head.
Oh.
She was behind the whole thing.
Nice.
Would have been
Nice.
great. I'm telling you,
Hey,
we could
you
make it.
wrote a better movie, dude. You wrote a
Hey,
better
just
movie.
you're talking, just spitballing off
I'm
the
more
top.
excited now because of the Viking Wolf that we didn't get.
Yes. So
Um, Box office, this brought in $57,000.
I'm sure it would cost more than that in the CGI.
I would think that might
And
have covered the CGI.
it's funny. I'm wondering who wrote this. Not who wrote this movie, but I read an article that this was rated as one of the best foreign horror films of 2022.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm
There were some
wondering who
accolades.
wrote that, or if that was just a blatant Netflix thing to get people to watch it. Um,
Um, yeah,
I would
Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 50%. Um, Released like basically right to Netflix after.
right,
But
which is which is
hey,
funny because for Rotten Tomatoes, 50% actually a lot of times for horror is a good movie.
it hits the marks. And like it's hard to run that line because it does hit the marks, but in the end, those marks fall short. So I can respect the 4.5 rating on that one because I'm not gonna watch it again because it wasn't enough Viking in my Wolf.
This is my third time watching this, so I should tell you right now that I don't intend on ever watching it again. So let's move on to our sometimes hysteric.
Hilarious, sometimes hilarious, intentionally tasteless shit list.
Would you put Viking Wolf? Oh boy,
It sits right with Blood Red Sky. With
it
you had a
does.
story, it was interesting up until, and
Uh-huh.
then you failed. No,
Would you put it above Thanksgiving? Would you put it above Swamp Zombies?
I'd watch Swamp Zombies again as a goof,
Yeah, yeah.
because it was fun.
And
Uh,
I'm going to tell you right now.
Mike,
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on before you go any further.
yeah,
Let me add
okay,
my little 2 cents. Let's
yeah,
say
absolutely.
Ubaldo, right, and his coworkers. Let's say that we were all hanging out one night, and one of them said, "You know what? I heard you guys talking about this Viking Wolf movie. Let's watch that." I would watch it that way. I'd watch it with a group of people who hadn't seen it before,
Oh
and
yeah, okay, yeah,
right. So I could do that.
okay.
Um,
Um,
my question is though,
I'm
would
right. I'm right with it's with Blood Red Sky. I put it above Blood Red Sky only
I,
because I didn't think Blood Red Sky redeemed itself in the end. It felt cheap.
I thought Blood Red Sky was going to be so much fun, and I actually had a
Eh,
really good. It was another movie that was more fun to talk about than it was
yeah, yeah.
uh,
It's
than
it's
to watch.
those it's those tropes that have been used before, and without spinning it without telegraphing it completely, or without following through, which is the problem Viking Wolf had. So, Blood Red Sky, I didn't think it redeemed itself. Viking Wolf is a better movie, I think, because it has a full arc.
Yep.
Some of it doesn't make sense, and it fell short, but it
Here's the
has a
reason
full arc.
why I feel okay putting it above Blood Red Sky for me. I believe that it was better filmed. The cinematography was better. I think the special effects were better. Right.
Right.
I was able to believe the arc of Thale, even though I didn't care for the really a lot of the other characters, but I liked her and I liked her sister.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't like Thale at first, right? It was
Yeah.
about halfway through the movie when I was like, okay, I like this character,
Right.
because I started to understand why she was who she
Yeah.
was.
Angsty teenager, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Because
Yep.
at first I thought she's just being a dick teenager, but then you come to find out, her mom and dad divorced. Dad wound up dying, and mom didn't care.
Boyfriend's here.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
got so that's when I was like, okay, cool. I see who this character is.
Yep.
So that being said, where it excels over Blood Red Skies, Blood Red Skies was a fun concept. Vampires on an airplane is a really fun concept.
Yeah.
So was Snakes on a Plane, and that wasn't a good movie either.
Right. Right. Snakes on a Plane was better than Blood Red Sky.
I agree with you, and that's because Samuel L. Jackson
That,
carried that movie.
oh
And
yeah.
for those of you who are in the chat who don't know if you've ever seen Snakes on a Plane, Samuel L. Jackson literally was sent the script as a spoof from his agent. Samuel L. Jackson sent back to them, if you want me to do this film, I will be glad to do it, but you're not allowed to change the title, because it literally said working title Snakes on a Plane. He said,
Right.
if you want me in this movie, you keep the title Snakes on a Plane and I'll do it.
Word. Word.
And I think he did it just so he could say, I'm sick and tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
Exactly.
You know,
And yeah.
yeah.
So,
So, yeah, I'm with
yeah,
you.
I'm
I'm
with
with
you.
you. 25 is a great place to be, I think, for this one.
Good. Good. At the bottom of the list, we need to find some stuff that might rival the top.
Oh boy, that's going to be, well, we've got some good stuff coming up.
We do. We do. We've got some good ones.
So that being said, so let's say this. Ladies and gentlemen, there's both my good buddy Chris and I have we've been slacking in a couple things. We're on a YouTube channel and we never ever really ask, but we need to start asking more often. Please, I will look at the views, and we will have, sometimes we have up to 100 views on some of our videos. Sometimes they're only 60, whatever the case may be. It doesn't really matter. But only like 2 or 3 likes.
Yeah. Smash that like button.
Please
Ring the
hit.
bell. Sub. Comment. Idiots. You knuckleheads.
I
We'll
can't
love it. I love it.
go into this one and go, I cannot believe you reviewed Viking Wolf. This movie was a piece of shit. And we'll be like, okay, cool.
Right. And you're not wrong.
No, and here's another thing that you may or may not know. If you comment on one of our videos, I personally try to comment back to every single person, and it's not
Absolutely.
just a cut and paste. It's literally I read it, I think about it, and I respond back. So
We have fun hanging out in the horror community. There's a lot of good people out here. Love horror movies.
yep.
It's a genre that goes hand in hand with metal. That goes hand in hand with good people.
And I was telling someone this week. It also is. Studies have been done. The emotion of fear is the twin bastardized sister of the emotion of humor, which is why when you're sitting in the theater and everyone jumps at once, you all of a sudden hear this breakout of laughter.
Nervous laughter.
Because they work themselves hand in hand. So please be sure, if you know anyone that is into horror movies, let them know about us. All right. We are, as of today, we are pushing for 250 subs by the end of May.
That would be
If
nice.
if you help us get there, share, comment, thumbs up. It helps us in the algorithms, right? But also let people know about us, because if we hit that 250 by the end of May, we are going to draw a member's name out of a hat, and they are going to get a really really cool horror grave reviews Thursday Night Frights fun pack. It's
Fun
going
pack.
to have, matter of fact, one of the items that's going to be in there is a one of two only in the whole wide world.
This is true.
And I've got one that is going to Chris that I'm giving him, and one that I've got set aside to give to a viewer. Plus, we have a Funko Pop. Plus, we have
Yeah.
some
Get some
Chris
stuff
reviews.
together.
I mean,
And
some really neat and fun. You're gonna look at it and go, "I can't believe they gave that to me." Oh my god, that is fun. So yes,
absolutely, Ubaldo, because we want more people in our chat. We love our chat. We love everyone in here that showed up. Whether you could get here in the beginning, you come towards the end, we appreciate you no matter what. You guys are always there. You are part of the Talking Dead.
yes, and as we like to say every week to our peoples. We do accept you as one of us. We appreciate you for being with us. And next week, Chris, is the 1st of May.
The 1st of May.
Week of May, of May. And what happens during the first week of May?
Well, Cinco de Mayo. I think we got. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
So next week we have a very special treat for you. The first time in Grave Reviews history, we're having special guests next week. It is the ETEP and Teresa. They are
Trina.
from. Oh my God, I drew a blank.
The Place to Be reviews.
The place. Thank you.
We
The
did a
place to be
Tuesday
reviews.
Terror with them, a Tuesday Terror Vision with them.
And
they're gonna be
we are
coming on.
going to be talking in honor of Cinco de Mayo, the Day of the Dead. We're going to be talking about the 2000s remake of Dawn of
Dawn of the Dead, the remake.
What a great movie! So
Fun.
great remake also. And I can't wait to tell you my thoughts on the first 10 minutes of this movie. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Be sure to hit the like, be sure to hit the subscribe. Again, share it out. If we hit those views, we're going to do that drawing. I've got some fun stuff for you.
We're at 202 now. We're close.
Yep.
Go to share the link if you would, please, LG in the chat. If you go to bio.link/graverev, you can get a link to all of our socials, our merch store. We've got some cool stuff in there.
We have a really, really cool design in our merch store right now for Thursday Night Frights. I think you guys are going to like it. You've seen the, I believe you've seen the Skelling Tom with the Thursday Night Frights purple ring around it. That is now available on T-shirts. So yeah, definitely get in there and take a look and see those. I think you'll really like them. And who knows, we may use that to put on a Speedo for someone special in the chat tonight.
You never know.
You never know.
Stay
Anyway,
tuned.
Chris, is there anything you'd like to say to our people before we sign off tonight?
I just, I appreciate everyone that showed up tonight. I have fun making the shorts, getting a little goofy. TikTok, and we share on Insta and Facebook, and we have all the great people commenting, liking, sharing. Thank you for stopping by. And you know what? Stay spooky out there.
Absolutely, stay spooky. That being said, from yours truly, I will tell you what I've been telling everybody else here lately. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being here so much. My name is Alan. My co-host name is Chris. And of all things we hope for you in this following week is that may your nightmares be groovy. And we'll see you next week. Have a good night, guys.